different.
Oh, there we go.
Here we go. Welcome back to the Vegans Who Lift podcast. We are so excited to have you guys today. We are your hosts. I'm Brooke Sellers, Miss Meatless Muscle, and I am here with the bodybuilding vegan, John Thomas. What's up, John? How's it going?
Woo! We are on to season 2. I'm so stoked for this. I remember after we did our first episode, I was already like, we are definitely doing a season 2. Like I already knew it. Didn't know with who or when or where. But we got a super awesome guest today. We had his wife last season. We got Muscles by Brussels, or his real name, Giacomo Marchese. Did I say it right?
Oh, that's how everybody made fun of me in school. Why'd you say that? I'm just kidding. They call me cheese. Nothing there.
Cheese. Okay.
Is that Italian? I love it.
Yeah. Dude, be glad. I had John Thomas. You can't even make fun of that. There's nothing there to work with. I had to recreate my name. So at least you got a cool name. And Muscles by Brussels. I mean, let's dive right into that. Where did that come from? Did you just create that on your own?
I wish that I was that creative. Hardly. Danny came up with the name out of nowhere. And the amount of time someone was like, are you from Brussels? Or is this about Jean-Claude Van Damme? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And we even tried to give the name away because we wound up going with vegan proteins. But Danny was like, you take it. So I was like, okay, I'll take it. Why not? And I just ran with it. You'll have to ask her. I have no clue how she made it up. None.
It's cute. Okay. I love it.
Well, okay. So we kind of have a little bit of a formula here. We normally start off with wins of the week, and then we pull out some questions out of a shaker cup that Brooke has so nicely brought forward for us. So yeah, we could dive into the wins of the week if y'all want, if that's good.
Let's do it.
Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
My win for the week, which we might share a win. We are on round 2 of our business coaching, and we have had everyone continue successfully, and they're continuing to build out their businesses and grow their following, grow their social media. And it's great. We've got everybody. So we've got the same group, and we're still, developing those relationships and getting to know everybody and those connections. And I think that's a huge win for this week. I'm super excited about that.
A huge, I will piggyback off that. We had 12 people sign up for the Vegans Who Lift Coaching Academy, where basically Brooke and I are giving a crash course on everything we wish we knew 3 or 4 years ago when we started coaching. And the first month went by, and we were like, well, we'll see who signs up for the second month. And for a little while, it was crickets. I was like, we might have like 2 people. But everybody has to get paid, figure out their budgets, and we actually had all 12 re-sign, which tells me 2 things. 1, this could be a business. 2, we're actually delivering some value. Otherwise, they wouldn't be offering up their money and their time again. So that really fills my cup and makes me happy. I actually just got off the call with Justin, aka I think it's Moonman Fitness.
Yes, right? I love Justin. Yeah. Yes, Moonman Vegan Fitness.
He's super cool, and I really feel like we're giving these people value. And part of the value is like ask more for your coaching because you're worth more. But yeah, that is definitely a big win. I will second that win, and then also I will bring back a win from almost 2 weeks ago. I don't think we had time for our wins of the week on the last recording.
We didn't.
My client Greta, I believe, well, she will be on season 2, but I believe she's 21. She is a college student. She works, and she just had her very first ever OCB figure competition as a vegan. Her first show ever, took first place, took the overall, and got her freaking pro card. Putting vegan bodybuilding on the map at 21. I am so proud of her. And then I was scared for the call the next day. Like, what are we going to do? Are we doing another show? Are we trying to do a pro show? Like, I'm actually out of my league here. I need to go do some more research, talk to somebody like Giacomo that knows a little bit more about this. And she's like, no, I want 9 to 12 months with you to grow. And I'm like, fuck yeah, we're going to kill it next year. So anyways, I only had her for 8 weeks. She was already pretty lean and had done so much of the work, but her posing coach, shout out to her. She referred her to me and said, you might want to get a coach for your first show. And I'm so grateful. So that's my win of the last 2 weeks. Still riding on a high from that. Giacomo, what's a win for you for this last week?
I finally got to see the Boston Red Sox play, and they did the wave 6 times around while we were in the bleachers while someone was drinking beer, presumably, out of a stinky sneaker. And the whole experience was everything that I hoped it could be and then some. So I'm calling that one a win.
Oh,
That's awesome. What a fun
awesome.
experience. Baseball games are so fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
And business-wise, let's see. It would be foolish to not talk about the team of athletes that we're getting together to compete in September in Tampa at the USA Fit Fest and in October at Mr. America in Atlantic City. And last year we took, I think, 30 first place medals and many records and many overalls. And this year, I'm sure of it, the team has a chance to be significantly more competitive than last year. The athletes are incredibly inspiring too. The most inspiring stories to me personally are the ones about overcoming perceived physical limitations from injuries. Like this one dude is going through his second surgery on his spine. And so it took him out of the games, CrossFit games, as an elite, but he turned over to bodybuilding and became pro, and he's a drill sergeant. He's just about to get his second surgery. They told him he was going to be paralyzed, and now he's still going. And now he's going to compete with us on stage, and the guy looks phenomenal, for one. Another strongman athlete, she was talking about how she grew up around professional NFL players in her family, and she was competitively doing something, downhill skiing or something or along those lines. And when she got hurt, she's like, I can't do this anymore. So she turned over to strongman and somehow is at the top of her game. And there are other athletes, there are similar stories like that just across the board. Just you as a coach, you deal with occupational issues, environmental issues like responsibilities, bogging people down stress-wise, and then it affects their mental health and their mindset. And then they wind up being like so scared, and then you wind up being all, super careful about how you coach people. You don't want to do the opposite and be flippant about it and be like, well, you could just push, right? You don't want to be that person. But there is that in between, and there is that mindset thing, that belief that like with the right approach, the right support, the right professionals, and the follow through, that you can literally work through anything at any age. So hearing those stories, as well as people's personal reasons for joining, were incredible. Just listen. The first two questions I ask are, what got you into sports? The second question I ask when I want to listen and interview people just to get to know these athletes that are working with us are, what got you into the whole vegan plant-based diet thing? Another cool story outside of the physical things was this lifter who was going through some crazy crisis with her family. And long story short, she had some sort of she got impaled on her clavicular bone, had some crazy surgery. She got stabbed with some piece of metal as a child. And she came out of the surgery and she was like, I had a nightmare that I was in a slaughterhouse and I was literally feeling how a pig felt to be murdered, because her whole family rescued horses. So she already had the association in the back of her mind. And she came to after the painkiller. She's like, I don't know if it was the dope or whatever, but I woke up and it's like, that's it, I'm vegan. And you could literally feel it. To me, I was living in her dream in my imagination. And it's just incredible just hearing stories like that, and also listening to how other athletes talk about what they did to overcome things that for some others, they can be a death sentence as far as what they're able to physically do or what have you. So it's been a real win this week, just connecting with other vegans and learning about how they came to be who they are.
Wow, that's inspiring. That's some really amazing, resilient people. And this is your vegan strong team, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's such a cool team. I follow almost all of you on there, and it's really cool because it's a whole mix, for people listening, of powerlifters, bodybuilders, strongmen. So it's really cool to see all the different athletes and how you guys come together and support each other.
Yeah, I think we have season 2. We're still building it out, but he goes by Media McScorley on Instagram. I think his name is
Nick
Matt.
Squire, I think.
Nick. Oh, sorry, Nick. Yeah, I don't know. Nick. Yeah, Nick Squire. He's going to be coming on as well. Man, I know Instagram handles more than I know names. Like literally, like if I had to list all the people I actually know by their name and then all the Instagram handles I know, the Instagram list would be like 5 times as long. I don't know. That's just the world I live in, apparently. But anyways, he's going to be coming on. He's funny, and he's sponsored by some cool people. He's sponsored by, I think, Impossible, I believe, or Beyond. One of the two. I get them mixed up. I don't eat them all the time, but he's sponsored by one of them. I was like, that's cool. So he's on the Vegan Strong team as well, right? He set some records.
Yeah, I won't. I mean, you could. I'm sure he'll have plenty of fun things to talk about. He's a character for sure. When he rolls through, it's a good time, and he's going to compete with us in October as well. He's back for more.
Okay.
Last
year.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say he's like one of the people you're talking. He had like a major shoulder or arm surgery. I remember he was deadlifting with like an apparatus that allowed him to attach his torso to the bar without using his arm. I'm like, okay, no excuses. Literally, no excuses. That's how it's done. So yeah, he seems like a cool character.
There's a will, there's a way, for sure.
Yes. Before we jump into the game, I wanted, since we already brought it up and some people might be listening, it's 2024. The eclipse just happened. That hopefully clues you into what time this is. If you are going to be anywhere near Tampa in September, y'all should come out to the Fit Fest, support the Vegan Strong team. Do you want to drop any details for our listeners that might be in the area at that time?
Honestly, we don't have all the details put together yet for the event itself, but the competition will be on September 8th and September 9th. So Saturday and Sunday. I don't know if we're going to be competing on both days, but I do know we're competing for sure on the 8th. The team's getting together to decide where they feel they'll be most appropriate and belong on the competition floor.
All right. I've already got it on my calendar. So if you guys want to come out, meet Muscles by Brussels, meet the Bodybuilding Vegan in Real Life, and the rest of the Vegan Strong team will be there. Super excited to blow this up, make it as big as possible, and get some support for these awesome athletes. And with that, now we can jump into the question game.
All right, question game. We're going to shake up the shaker. We'll all give our responses. It's just usually a fun, random question. I don't know if Danny gave you a few little tips. All right. Ooh, this is a good one. All right, you guys ready? If you could turn any 3 people vegan, who would you choose? Celebrity, a celebrity, somebody close to you. It could be anybody.
So this is vegan, not plant-based, but like ethically and morally not eating animals, not for health. I think I got 2 out of. You know what? I got my 3.
All right, I want to hear it. I'm still thinking of mine. I've got 1 so far.
Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. I think Bill Gates is already like kind of on that track, like a little, like maybe more than the others. So then I would just say, whatever year we're in, the president of the United States. I think we do that. We could make some change. So that's a good. Brooke, did you write that question?
I did write that question.
You wrote all the questions. They're all good, but that was
sure
a really
did.
good one. I was excited to hear your guys. Yeah.
Okay, I've thought of 2. I'm still thinking of my other one. Giacomo, do you know yours yet?
This crossover with John's and mine, and now I have to rethink who the 3 are going to be. Some sort of music artist would probably be really helpful. Some A-list celebrity would be also really helpful. Sadly, I'm not on the up and up with who is really out there in the music world and the celebrity world, but those would be the types of people I feel like would make the biggest impact, aside from someone with great power business-wise and governing-wise, because the president's a no-brainer. Jeff Bezos that's huge. Absolutely. Not closeted and not just like, yeah, I do it, but like out loud about it.
Well, he couldn't, if he was vegan, if he was truly vegan, his company couldn't sell anything non-vegan. So either Amazon tanks or the world becomes vegan. One of the 2.
That's a good one. All right, so mine, I'm going to say number 1, Taylor Swift. And I'm not even a Taylor Swift fan, but it's like whatever that woman does, it's gold. It's like the Bible. And imagine how many young girls would go vegan if she was vegan.
Oh yeah. That's
and maybe
good.
she'd write a song about it. Who knows? Second, you know who I was thinking? Andrew Huberman, because he's got a huge podcast. And God, everybody like takes his word as just like a fact. It's like if he says it, it's a fact. Like how many people could he influence if he were to go vegan? And then I would say lastly, not a huge fan, but I mean, I do think if the Kardashians all went vegan, it would, and I, you know, they are pretty kind, I think they're plant-based, right? But like if they had an ethical stance for the animals, they would probably influence a ton of people.
One of them is vegan or plant-based, right? I don't follow them, so I don't know.
I know they did a big thing. One of them did some campaign with Daring Chicken. You guys like Daring Chicken? So they did some sort of campaign with them, but I think they're Sean said Courtney is vegan. Okay.
I knew one of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. If we could get a few more, that would be, I think that would be pretty good. I wish they would be, I wish I don't know if Courtney's vegan for the animals. She's probably not. She's probably vegan for health reasons. I feel like in California, like in the elite, like celebrity crowd, it's kind of like people are vegan for more health reasons, you know? If they had an ethical stance for the animals and they were vocal about what was happening in slaughterhouses, that would be awesome.
We have a few notable ones. I mean, just off the top of my head,
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix, of course. Like he
love
accepts an award and just goes off on a vegan speech. He doesn't even talk about the award. Natalie Portman, she's also vegan. Billie Eilish is vegan.
You know
Woody
who is
Harrelson.
one? Oh yeah, I love Woody Harrelson. You know who? I always wonder because so Leonardo DiCaprio, he's a huge environmentalist, right? I mean, he's a huge environmentalist. He does all this stuff for climate change, but I never hear him talking about being vegan. So I wonder if he's vegan or not.
I think I remember hearing he was. I could be wrong here. I don't know. He also doesn't date women over 25, but that's a whole nother conversation. So yeah, if you are listening to this episode and you happen to have connections with Joaquin Phoenix, Natalie Portman, Woody Harrelson, and you'd like to get them on season 2 of Vegans Who Live podcast, send us a DM. We love. They are kind of on my bucket list. Like if we could buy like season 10, have one of them, we've fucking made it. So
we've made it. Yeah, if we have one of them on.
Yeah.
I'm thinking other really loud people that no matter what they say, like Donald Trump, for example.
Yep.
And Joe Rogan, right?
Like, yes.
They say whatever they want and they let anyone else say whatever they want, and they have a way to make it larger than life and sensational, regardless of right or wrong. Those kinds of voices, regardless of your own personal feelings, could influence and impact a lot of people if they, hypothetically speaking, went vegan. So those are two ideas that come to mind for me.
Remember back in I think it was 2016 when Trump he was one of the 17 potential Republican candidates. I was like, that's insane. That'll never happen. And I'm feeling like the same right now. Like, would he go vegan? That's insane. That'll never happen. But maybe I could be proven wrong twice. So
look, Arnold, who would have ever thought Arnold would be advocating for plant-based diets? And, you know, we've got him now. So that's awesome.
Arnold he's been my hero for a long time. And it's not just the movies, but I've read some of his books on how he governed California and how he tried to go down the middle. There's a Netflix documentary that's pretty solid, but he's come full swing. He's like one of the people that I feel like has a moral compass, and when something's brought to him that needs to change, he adjusts. We can thank him for creating the Hummer as we know it. Like GM made the Humvee for wars, and then Arnold wanted to convert that into a civilian use vehicle because he thought it'd be funny to show up to a movie premiere in it. They did it, and then he partnered with GM to build the H1. So we have Arnold to thank for the gas-guzzling Hummer, but then he felt guilty 20 years later, converted his to electric, and now GM makes the electric Hummer. So it's come full circle there. Same with eating meat. He talks so much about the benefits of plant-based diet and how we should cut down our consumption. And while I would love to see, thousands of people overnight go vegan if he turned vegan, even by him just encouraging a few people to eat more plant-based meals, and by a few, I mean I don't know, his base has to be hundreds of millions of people that listen to him. So cool dude, in my opinion. I feel like he's really changed the world, and I'd like to somewhat follow in those footsteps by the time I get to his age.
Same. He's amazing. Well, good one, guys. Yeah, those were really good. So, Giacomo, let's get into a little bit more about you. For anyone who is listening and maybe hasn't run across your page or Danny's page, tell us a little bit about you, what you're all about, your sport, what you do, all that jazz.
Sure. I am an online vegan coach. I also manage the largest team of vegan strength athletes and physique athletes in the world, all natural. And I used to run the world's first and only online vegan supplement shop and had moved on from that. And I've been involved in the vegan community for going on 16 years now, after initially getting active in it on the vegan bodybuilding forum that Robert Sheik had started. And it's been a long journey for all of that, as far as what I put out there and what I do for a living. On a personal level, I've spent 25 out of the 43 years of my life focused on bodybuilding, something like that. I got into it as a child to gain confidence in myself and to take control of my body and be able to get better at sports. I got more into the health side to try to, I think the influence was try to save my dad. It didn't work, but I get to be an example, I hope, for others. But that started about like 20 years ago for other reasons. And I continue to find ways to focus on others, as, you know, when it comes to their sports, longevity, their personal reasons to go vegan, and they want to be fitter and healthier and all that stuff. So, sorry if that's a little bit scattered, but that's just a little bit of what I do and who I am. I regrettably have focused too much on bodybuilding the last 10 to 15 years. And I don't like that, because I feel like I've missed out on having fun doing other kinds of things. So I'm trying to get more active and do other stuff that I genuinely enjoy. Like, I love racket sports and I'm really good at them. I just don't play them anymore. But I'm trying to make time for other things like that, as opposed to just focusing on, because body, as you know, as you both know, it can take over your life if you want to get really good at it.
That is such a good point. And that's something that we actually have not talked about yet, which would be a great episode for us to talk about, you know, the sacrifices you have to make with bodybuilding. You know, the time that you miss out with friends, you know, you may miss out on certain dinners, or and even like you said, like, you don't really have time for other sports, like, because I mean, for one, I know a lot of people, they don't play a lot of sports while they're in prep or they're bodybuilding, because one, risk of injury, right? Like, why would you want to get injured doing a recreational sport when you're getting ready for a show? And you just don't, also, you have low food, like, you don't have the energy to go play your best and, you know, really have fun doing it. So that's definitely a huge part of bodybuilding, is you have to give up a lot. I think a lot of people underestimate the time commitment that is required to do a show.
The time, the money, the health investment, people have no idea. Even if it was easy, even if it was watching TV, they have no clue how much it would take. And it's not watching TV. It's pretty freaking hard. You covered so much there. There's, like, I took notes because I want to unpack some more of this. I want to say, first of all, thank you for being an activist. Thank you for giving back with your time. I feel we are so lucky as a podcast, and just Brooke and I in general, to have your time and your presence right now. You could be anywhere else in the world. You're choosing to be here with us. You, Robert, Danny, I feel like y'all are the OGs, the OG vegan bodybuilders. Like, y'all have been doing this for 15 years, like since I got into it. Like, y'all were there. I remember seeing you guys and Robert, and I was like, oh, those are my people. That's who I could one day be like if I stuck this out. So you've undoubtedly paved the road for the next generation, for people like me and Brooke. And I think Brooke and I's goal is to kind of, like, almost, I don't know how people see this here, but at least on my screen, you're on the bottom, and then it's me and Brooke, and then, like, me and Brooke can do this, like, because you guys laid that first road. We can capitalize on that, use social media, use our presence along with your knowledge and the work that you guys started, and kind of, I hope to one day be in your spot and be handing this off to the next generation, the next guy that's in his 20s or 30s that wants to do this. So thank you, first of all. I wanted to put that out there.
It's nice to see the torch being passed all over the place, as opposed to thinking that whatever we do, it's past our time and we shouldn't be doing it. I deal with doubt all the time, and I feel like, why should I keep going when there are others that are doing this better than I ever could and doing other things that I can't? And it's nice to hear that there's support out there. At least that's what I want to say to whoever's listening. Like, please know that we are an incredibly tight-knit and supportive community that can see past ourselves in most any circumstance and scenario, because the work that we get to do when we bond and we do this stuff together can change the world. It can. So it is literally that important to continue to align and connect with each other in any possible way. And I was thrilled that I was invited on here, because a lot of times, honestly, I just feel like I'm washed up or something like that, because I've just been doing it for so long, whatever, this and that. But it's nice to be here, and it's an honor to continue to be able to do the work.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, you truly led the way for so many people, so you should certainly be proud of that. And what did you competed in men's physique, right? Is that what you started in?
No, bodybuilding.
You started in
they
bodybuilding, so
they didn't have men's physique back then. When I first got into it, it was just bodybuilding. I competed the first year they added men's physique, if I recall correctly, 2014.
For some reason, I'm feeling like I saw. Well, did you compete in men's physique at some point? Because I feel like I've seen you do in the men's physique poses.
Yeah, that was the one I medaled in and did really well in that one time, and I haven't gone since that one season. But I may, just for fun, but I've really just focused on bodybuilding.
Yeah, well, now I'm curious. Which would you prefer?
If I have something to prove, probably bodybuilding. If that honestly probably is my reason, if I'm being perfectly real with myself. But who knows? I mean, I like the idea of bodybuilding because it forces you to become stronger from head to toe. And I feel like it's harder discipline-wise. But then again, classic bodybuilding is that in-between place where you do have to be strong from head to toe, and arguably in some ways style your posing on stage even more so than bodybuilding. So I don't know. I think I get a little lazy in terms of switching divisions, and I get singularly focused on like proving to myself that I could take the thing I did the first time on stage all the way, which is bodybuilding. Plus it's, you just keep focusing on one thing to get better at it. But I don't think it would be physique for me. It would be classic bodybuilding, not physique. Because to me, even though they're focusing more on the legs, it's not quite the same as classic bodybuilding or bodybuilding. And what a shame to not neglect, but kind of ignore your lower body.
Totally
I agree. As a male centaur who has legs and not much else, I can't do men's physique. I'm going to clear this up for anybody that's brand new jumping in at season 2. Men's physique is going to be the men's category where they wear like board shorts. They do only 4 poses, and I don't believe you get to pick your own music for your routine, at least at most organizations. And it's generally considered the lowest barrier of entry. You don't need the most size there. Then we have classic physique, which is kind of more of like an Arnold Schwarzenegger style look. Not nearly as muscular as like current open bodybuilders. Now this is maybe talking more on the hand side, but they wear more of like a Speedo. And then there's open bodybuilding, or just regular traditional classic bodybuilding. And that's going to be, I say, look for the guys in the thong. That'll be a giveaway. And the goal there, I feel, is the easiest goal to attain from an objectivity standpoint, not actually doing it, but for bodybuilding, it's basically get as big and as lean as humanly possible. Whereas with both classic physique and with men's physique, you don't have to be as big. I actually just went to a show my friend competed at, and this guy was huge in classic, like almost my size on upper body. And I was like, damn, he's going to kill. He got last place. So depending upon the show, the judges are looking for a different look there. So nailing that look that's subjective and a moving target versus like this kind of static target of biggest and leanest, maybe that clears something up for somebody that's not super into bodybuilding. But I agree with you, brother. When I first started training for a show, they actually had me jump in men's physique because they didn't have enough competitors for somebody to turn pro. So like, if you could just jump in, we can give out a pro card. I was like, okay. I actually brought my bathing suit because I was going to go to the beach after. Sure. Placed horribly, but I didn't know how to pose either. But for me, bodybuilding was always bodybuilding. You get at least the 9 mandatories, the 4 relaxed poses. You get to pick your song and do a routine. Not that you get scored on the routine, but it just, for me, it's the essence of the sport. Not that I discredit anyone else. Some people look phenomenal in other divisions, but for me, similar to you, Giacomo, it was always bodybuilding is what I wanted to do.
I wish we could pick our song. We don't get to pick our song, but we're only up there for just like less than 30 seconds.
Doesn't women's physique, they don't get to pick a
Women,
song?
I feel like maybe women's bodybuilding, maybe women's physique, but figure wellness and bikini do not get to pick, unfortunately.
Fitness, y'all got fitness.
Fitness,
you can go to a
yes, we do have
gymnastics
fitness.
routine.
Oh Lord, y'all do not want me doing that.
Giacomo, do we need men's fitness?
Men's fitness.
Yeah,
that would be kind of cool.
It would be, right?
So
I mean,
cool.
think about all these CrossFit competitors. They could probably just cross over right now, do something crazy.
Crazy story about that one. So, God, I keep butchering her first name, Angeline. I apologize if you're out there. So Angeline Brevis, she's France's strongest woman, right? Listen to this boss move. So last year she competed with us on the plant built team, took the overall, won it all in strongman, and she's chatting it up with Danny, talking over with Danny, and Danny's talking about bodybuilding. And Angeline's like, I can never diet like that. Bodybuilders are crazy. So then we're casually hanging out, and our friend Nadej is like, hey, she's talking to me. She goes, Angeline just competed on stage in bodybuilding, and I think she won. And Danny's like, no way. She talked about how she could like never diet. I'm like, okay. And I just took Danny's what Danny said at face value because she was judging her. She hopped on stage as a bodybuilder and she cleaned house like last week. Like what?
Wow, that's awesome. We'll also to look her up.
Yeah, incredible athlete. She'll be back for more this year too. Crazy. It's crazy what you can do with the crossover thing because people think that you have to like sacrifice one sport. There are some athletes out there that can do it all. I don't think every athlete can. I think some of it you're limited by genetics, not just your mindset. You are. I think it will break you down, and I also think you just won't fare well out there. Like you're not meant to do it. But some athletes can do this stuff like that. They exist.
I mean, if you're 7 feet tall, you're just not going to be a world-class bodybuilder. There's just no way around it. People think LeBron is like skinny. He's actually not skinny. He's just super freaking tall. Like it's hard to like visually see that until you see them in person or standing next to a regular person. So genetics are huge. What I would say, if we somehow banned or canceled every single mainstream sport, we'd see some incredible bodybuilders. Think about all the people that are getting paid $20 million a year or whatever to be in the NFL. Imagine if they weren't there. They'd maybe be on a bodybuilding stage. We could see some incredible athletes.
Oftentimes people do find bodybuilding through other sports. I found like a lot of the really successful people, like they run track and they, have done some sort of like Olympic swimming. Like I think Danny was a swimmer, wasn't she? I can't remember if she was telling us she did some sort of sport. Or no, I can't remember. Who told us they were a swimmer?
Natalie
told us she was a swimmer.
Right?
Yeah, she did swimming. Yeah, so I can't believe I got that mixed up. But yeah, so and like Sid Gillian, I know she ran track since she was like 9, which really makes sense because that muscle maturity takes, years to develop. So like if you're playing sports when you're a kid and then in your 20s, you're like way ahead of everybody else. Like I wish that had been me because that would be pretty epic. But, and also, like you said, the mindset, I feel like the athlete mindset is really the most important thing. And if the earlier you master that and learn discipline and delayed gratification, the better, because it's just like a muscle. Like, I'm sure we always tell our clients, like, the more that you work it, the stronger it gets. So developing that mindset early, I feel like would be so beneficial if you were going to go into bodybuilding later.
Yeah, I think part of it is just it is the mindset. I've been in the military. I've been playing sports my whole life. The season ended or my contract ended. What do I do with myself? Well, anybody can be a bodybuilder. Whether or not you're good, we'll find out, but anybody can do it. So, yeah, interesting stuff there. We have a whole list of questions. I got like 15 more in my head. I do want to ask this. This is personal, and you can pass on it if you want. You had mentioned wanting to get your father on a more plant-based diet. What was that in, if you mind going into detail, more in relation to? Was it a certain health condition or?
By the time he was diagnosed with renal cell carcinoma, I believe it was already at stage 3, kidney cancer. And he lived with it for 15 years. And he chose that I'm going to live and I'm going to have Western medicine patch me up and keep me going approach. And it didn't serve him. I mean, he lived way longer than he should have. When a doctor says, get your affairs in order, and it's 15 years have passed and you're still here, like, what a blessing. But like, he lived a life in an incredible amount of pain. And who's to say if he could have reversed it or not? But I'll never know. So, you don't want to see your parent sick, and you don't want to lose your parent. And when both of those things happen, and you look back and you think to yourself, like, well, everything I did for myself to like lead by example was useless, as far as what was probably like your main driving. That's kind of sad. Man, the world still feels pretty empty without him, honestly. This weekend in particular was hard, and it's already been like 4 or 5 months, and I just I can't even get to bed sometimes, honestly. I literally cannot get into bed, because just the idea of like, it's lights out where I usually sleep reminds me of loss and death. So it was really hard to lose him, and I really hoped for more, and it didn't happen. So it just goes to show, no matter what control you think you have, and no matter what kind of influence you think you have, and no matter how much of a leadership role you take in changing and helping to change other people's lives, that you can't make anyone do anything. And that's why I changed like what I've been saying for many years on the saying leading by example to be an example, because that is literally the one thing that you have complete control over, and you can only hope that it helps others, and to obviously be a resource and be open-minded and listen and meet people where they're at. Like, it's easier said than done. Like, you're eager, you want to help people, but sometimes that could actually be the absolute wrong approach, and people, whatever. I mean, people, how do I say, are going to do what they're going to do.
Well, a lot to unpack there. I don't think it's fair for you to place blame on yourself, because you presented the information. You did everything you could by being an example, and you can't force anyone else, short of doing something that would get you arrested. Like, you can't force somebody not to eat certain things. I know, I've tried myself, and I'm excited to see Robert's book, The Impactful Vegan, because I think it's going to give myself and anyone else in our position ways to be more effective with our activism. You'll never know your true impact. You'll never know, because for every person that messages you on Instagram saying, thank you, I'm going to try plant-based, or thank you, I got so-and-so to do this, or thank you, so somebody showed me your page, I'm going to try this. Every one that sends you that, there's probably 10, 20, 30 that are doing it behind the scenes and just won't say anything to you. You've pioneered this for so many people, and it's sad that someone so close to you couldn't see that influence, but your influence extends extremely far and wide. I feel I can somewhat relate to you. My dad last year was diagnosed with cancer, and he died 37 days later. And I remember visiting him at the hospital, seeing the food that they were giving him, and thinking, if he can get home, I'll meal prep for him. I will sit him aside. I will get him on whole foods, plant-based, because his best case scenario was 2 to 5 years. He ended up having a stroke So like he didn't hit the best case. He had an additional issue. But outside of the animals, I think all of us sitting here right now are fully vegan for the animals. But in this case, it was selfish. I wanted to keep him around a little bit longer and be like, this is something you can do. I just even had a client reach out. She's in remission and she's not vegan. And I said, look, I'm not trying to push ethics or morals on you, but for yourself, you should really look into this. You should look into going plant-based, at least as plant-based as possible. If you're going to go out for a meal, that's your own ethical choice. But for when you're at home, when you're meal prepping, do these things. So anyways, I didn't mean to turn that back on me, but you mentioned that, and I was like, I have to ask either on air or off air because I want to connect on this, and I feel like it's something you and I can now bond over. And it is hard. It's like it's like you have the key to fixing things, but people don't want to take it. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to use it. And it's like, look, dude, I'm not even trying to do anything for me. I'm trying to help you, and you can only help those that want to be helped. That's what it comes down to. I think that's the hardest part of being a coach too.
Yeah, we deal with that a lot with coaching. It's so hard when it's your own family, though. It's so much different because it's like, man, you have to know I'm coming from a place of love. That's like my grandparents. My grandparents absolutely love my grandparents. They practically raised me, and they had terrible heart issues, terrible. My grandmother ended up dying from a stroke, and my grandfather, he had what was called a widow's maker heart attack, where it's like all three of your arteries are clogged. And at one point they were very excited for me to like come down there, and I cleaned out all of their animal products, and like we stocked up their fridge and their pantry with healthy foods and like oats and tons of plant-based stuff. But then, within a few weeks they were like back to their old ways, and they're just like, we're old, like what are we supposed to do? Like, it's just, we're just stuck in our ways, and we like what we like. And so it's like you just have to make peace with the fact that you did your best, you tried your best, and ultimately, if that's the choice that makes them happy, it is what it is. They were enjoying their bacon and their food, and they died that way. So, at least I tried my best.
Yeah.
It's all you can do sometimes.
Oh gosh, we are gonna have to change. That's on me. I brought us down this path, but I wanted to dig deeper.
Not on the
Thank
schedule.
you for sharing, brother. It's not easy. Let's maybe talk about something happier, body dysmorphia, and why you got into bodybuilding to gain confidence in your life. Because I think we all come from that. Let's maybe talk more about the confidence aspect, because I feel like when I speak to you, when I met you at the Arnold in Ohio, there was Arnold, and you were there. You seem very confident there. You seem very sure of yourself. You know your stuff. You've been doing this for dang near half your life, if not more. What drew you into bodybuilding? I know you said for sports, but like specifically for you, like were you already conscious of how your body looked, or did you just want to get stronger? Like, I'm just going to let you tell me.
Sure. Well, my first thought was I wanted to make the tennis team. My second thought is that I wanted girls to notice me. My third thought was that I did not want to be a target for bullying. And then as I got really into it, I realized that bodybuilding was safe because it was me and it was the weights and it was, and that was all that mattered. And as my body changed, I realized that I could do whatever I wanted with it. And I could help others do the same, and I could keep going. So as I got more and more into it, it rewarded me more and more with the idea of getting stronger and being able to change the way that I looked. And that helped me feel confident in my body and in my own skin. As far as what you need to do with your environment and your lifestyle and your eating habits and your discipline, that's an entirely different story. That's challenging and tricky. And honestly, bodybuilding you wind up eventually like with like a magnifying glass on 100 times power, looking at yourself from head to toe when you take this to that level. So that's a little tricky, but once you get past how weird and awkward that could be, it's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. A lot more to hit on there. I resonated with number 3, trying not to be a target, because I was a target for a long time. Now I'm a target again. I'm walking yesterday, walking this morning. People are honking their horn at me, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have on a shirt. I got a head tattoo. I got green hair. Like, I'm a fucking target if I can find one. How old were you when you started this journey?
15.
15. Okay. Me too.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when we had Danny on, she was telling us a little bit about what it was like watching you prep. And she was telling us that you eat some really weird foods.
Oh, yes.
So me and John were curious, like, what a prep looks like for you and what you enjoy eating the most.
If I'm deep in the throes of a prep, honestly, I try to keep it clean and healthy as much as possible. It's afterwards where I wind up screwing up, because eventually I'll crack and I'll start throwing in foods that are hyperpalatable or calorically dense or like whatever. Competing winds up making me eat more healthfully, and it's after the fact where I usually crack, or like right around competition season time. But typical prep, honestly, so let's see, oats in the morning and protein powder and fruit. I'll come back and I'll have some vegetables and a little bit of grains and like seitan. And later in the day, I'll have a piece of fruit or some carrots and some pretzels, and then I'll end the day with more grains and vegetables. But then eventually it gets really weird because you're not eating much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like last prep, I screwed up because I just had so much pressure on me, and I put pressure on myself to begin with. And between running the event with Plant Built, competing at the same time, and touring and trying to grow our coaching company all at once, and we had our niece and nephew come on in like 3/4 of the way into my prep, right before I was about to start the competition season. And we had prepared for the idea of homing them, but with us if it needed to be, but it wasn't something we were exactly expecting. So like it was like the perfect storm, and I just completely cracked. And even before that, I had started eating more than I should have been when I was traveling, just trying to like keep it flexible, or if it fits your macros, or like be intuitive. And like stuff does not work when you can't. At some point, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. So if I'm supposed to be eating, let's just throw numbers out for fun. So if let's say I'm supposed to eat 1,800 calories a day to 2,300 calories a day, and I go and I'm eating 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day on, for half a week, and I'm doing that when I travel for 4 weeks during my prep, four trips, like I'm shot, I'm done. So at the end of my competition season, I had to get down to like stupidly low calories, like 1,000 calories for a couple of weeks just to clean things up, just to compete again. I mean, it was ridiculous. Definitely one of my more shameful moments for my preps, but also I was proud that I saw through what I wanted to, and I ended the competition season on my terms, and I got another show or two under my belt. But wasn't my best look, wasn't my best prep, even though I saw it through, and it got weird. And so, but regardless, like when you get into eating less, you have to make some concessions with how you eat, and it gets a little odd. So broth, I'll rely on broth, like miso soup at the end.
Yeah.
That's helpful for me. What else?
That's a great idea. I need to start doing that. I love miso soup.
Cauliflower rice is a really good one.
Yeah.
That helps keeping your food nice and bland.
Yep.
And I think those are like the three. And then outside of that, it's and strawberries. If I were to take those four things and just sprinkle in healthy whole foods in moderation, I would say that would be the way to just be on stupidly low calories and not lose it.
Yeah.
I think the problem, it's hard. It's like you want to be full, so you learn how the macros work, and then you start making those giant meals size-wise, at least me, but they're not very macro dense. I'm talking like a pound of spinach or something. And then you end up getting so much fiber and like stretching your stomach with none of like I looked it up. What I was doing for my first prep was exactly how competitive eaters practice. They'll eat like 2 or 3 bags of spinach or like 5 pounds of grapes or just drink a gallon of water. And that's how they stretch their stomach. And like, that's great for a competitive eater, but the opposite of what you want you don't want a giant ballooned out stomach as a bodybuilder. So it's, it's such a, just a mind fuck. It's like, even though you find a way to feel full, still it could work against you. And you're going to be on 1,000 calories. I bet you're hungry as hell. My prep
Oof.
got down to about 2,000 and I was hungry. So
That's low
can't
for
even
you. The lowest I
yeah.
went was 800, which is way, way, way low, way too low. But that definitely, like you said, Giacomo, I relate to you so much because it's like I did that show, I saw it through. Should I have done it? Probably not, but I did it anyways. Yeah, but food was so low. I think the weirdest thing for me that I was eating was cucumbers with hot sauce. But like when you're starving, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I do.
So weird prep things.
I often tell myself or clients when it's like, hey, it's late, I'm not in prep, I think I'm hungry, go eat a pickle. And if you're hungry, you'll eat a pickle. If you're not hungry, you're like, well, I really want that ice cream that's in the freezer. No, you're not hungry. You just want ice cream. You're not hungry. And like, I still struggle with that because my hunger cues are all messed up. I have to be on a meal plan, at least for right now. Otherwise, I'll way overeat. I'll convince myself that I can, and then, like you said, you'll pay the price. It's hard to do what you're doing because I think I'm in somewhat of a similar boat to you. I don't make my money from competing. So how I look on stage doesn't determine my paycheck. It's the promotion that I do. It's the clients I work with. It's being on the road and promoting. And that's hard as heck to do while also trying to prep. It's just they're two completely different goals. So
Yeah, Corinne was with us at the Olympia last year, and I didn't have the heart to say anything to him because he was just trying to keep it together, and the dude was like hurting. He was just about to be in his top shape for his season. What do? You support your buddy. We were like, oh my God, what a mess that was. We're trying to like skirt through and just get all of our product in there, and we're trying to be scrappy about it. And he did as much as he could, and he was just like, that's what I look like when I'm out there. So you feel guilty when you're with your team and you wind up just like eating a little more. Or you just try to like have some energy when you're at these shows, or you're trying to not be freezing, and you're out there in these where everyone else needs to be warm at an expo. I mean, it's crazy stuff that you don't even think about until you're in it. Keeping your body warm, having enough energy, being able to be social and communicate with people, the high energy and the sensory overload of all of the traveling and the touring and engaging with people. Yes, it's a lot. It's a lot when you're prepping. It absolutely is.
yeah. It's weird. It's like a weird thing. It's like you've become who you are, whatever your alter ego is. For me, the bodybuilding vegan, for you, Muscles by Brussels, because of competing. But now that you're trying to compete on the side while feeding that ego, and it's damn near impossible. Like I made sure that I didn't have a whole lot of obligations at all prior to my show. Like no trips. There were no trips. I slept in my bed every single night, and that's what I needed. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, don't
Guys,
try to travel on
bodybuilding.
prep.
Yeah, so much fun to be a bodybuilder.
There was some exciting news that me and John have been talking about for quite some time, that the NPC came out. I'm sure maybe you saw it. They're bringing more natural shows. So we were curious, what your thoughts are on that, and, what you think the competition will be like compared to like OCB. So yeah, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think overall it's going to be a good thing. I think they're going to do it really well. I wonder how stringent and how across the board the testing will be. And I think there'll be a lot of, how do I say, argument about that in the natural bodybuilding world. A lot of drama, a lot of bickering, a lot of arrogance. how it actually plays out is going to be entirely up to the NPC and the IFBB and the powers that be, because they have a tremendous amount of resources. So how they choose to do it is going to really dictate how it plays out. It's interesting because when you look at Mr. America, which has been their organization was around before the IFBB and NPC. I just casually looked at it just out of curiosity a couple of weeks ago. As the IFB and NPC started becoming more and more enhanced and more, the athletes engaged with more and more PEDs, they just took over. They took over the whole bodybuilding world. And Mr. America had a resurgence about like 10 years ago, and it changed hands between different natural bodybuilding organizations, the NGA, the WNBF, and now this, I don't know if it's sanctioned by the ANBF, but Mark Torriello, it's his thing. I don't know what involvement he has, but like the bottom line is they're trying to like grow this thing. And it is by far and away, in my opinion, it's the most competitive. I think they're gonna be out competing worlds. I'm talking strictly natural bodybuilding here. I'm sorry for like going off on a tangent here, but I guess my point is, to me, it looks like they're trying to grow this thing, but they can get squashed, and it would dwarf in comparison to what the NPC and IFBB were to do should they gain the trust of that's the one right there. You could do whatever you want out there, but if you don't earn the trust of the natural bodybuilding world, it's just going to be drama and bickering and arguing. And I think that's going to take some time. Just because they build it, the natural bodybuilding world might celebrate it, but they're not going to come that easily. It's going to take some time. That's my fully transparent opinion. It's going to take some time for them to earn the trust, being like, this is the drug testing that is being done the same way that say like the WMAF does it. Like it is that intense. If they do it that way, yeah, I think they're going to turn heads. I think they could blow it up, honestly.
Yeah. For people that don't nerd out on bodybuilding as big as we do, the NPC is the amateur division, or the amateur organization. And then IFBB is the pro, and they're currently not tested at that level. That's where I compete, and an enhanced individual would compete there. And now the NPC is offering a natural competition as well, or multiple natural competitions as well. So do you know, I'm relatively clueless here, do you know if they will be like same venue? Like you could have your natural bodybuilders at noon and then your NPC guys on at 3, or you don't know? Okay.
Not a clue.
Yeah. I think it could. Yeah, they got to do it right. I would say maybe even be more stringent with the testing, like find a way to one up every other organization to get that trust. And then if they do, they're so big. That's, I guess, their biggest thing going for them. They've already built this infrastructure out, and they have such a name.
The amount of years the lifter is drug free and the way that they're tested. Those are the two sticking points right now. So for WNBF, for example, I think it's like 3 years for some of their terms and 7 years for others. So it's like, if they match what the WNBF is doing as far as their requirements go, they'll go far, I think. Yeah. But then there's this gray area, Brooke and John, because like if someone who's an enhanced bodybuilder wants to go natural and now they have a lower barrier to entry, you don't want to shy that away by being, you know what I mean? Like it's not cut dry.
Yeah. Like ethically, should we encourage enhanced individuals to try and switch back over? However, I will say, like, if you put a 3-year cap and like I had to become natural for 3 years, have I not accrued enough tissue that I could possibly hold on to that more than a natural athlete could have gotten in the same time frame? Like, it does create that gray area. We mentioned in one of the other podcasts, we should have like minimally enhanced bodybuilding. Like that would be the best of both worlds, because we'll dive into this in a minute. Enhanced bodybuilding, that shit's unhealthy. Natural bodybuilding, it's unhealthy. If we could have just like some slight hormone replacement therapy, maybe for thyroid, for testosterone, monitored by a doctor, some sort of like true dosage that people had to fall under, that would be perfect. But what are they going to do? Of course, they're going to push it. They're going to like, oh, you can have 200 mgs of test a week. Well, I'm going to sneak in 300 because I want to win. And then it's like we're back to the same thing. So we'd have to have like a handshake agreement or something, but I don't think that'll ever happen. Diving into that, I mean, have you felt like natural bodybuilding has been unhealthy at times? I mean, it is natural, so you don't use any drugs, any performance enhancing drugs, and you're vegan, so that's pretty healthy. But what about natural bodybuilding? Do you feel like that's healthy for you?
In what regard?
Are you like if let's say a client came to you and said, hey, I really want to be healthy and I want to do natural bodybuilding. I'm a man. I'm 30 years old. I want to get back in the gym. I need this goal. I need this goal of getting on stage. I want to be healthy and be a vegan bodybuilder.
The part that I think that makes bodybuilding unhealthy is the behaviors that you develop to bodybuild more than anything. The behaviors make bodybuilding unhealthy. And I framed this as a positive and had conviction in that. And I also think it would be stupid and foolish to not say, well, there could be better ways to have to develop healthier eating patterns and to be fit year round than to get into bodybuilding. Like, you didn't have to do it that way. You didn't have to compete to do it. And you're putting yourself at risk when you do that. You can absolutely work on better eating patterns, healthier eating habits, eating more nutritiously, being athletically lean, and even on the cusp of being borderline more than athletically lean for periods of time. You can do all of that. And you can call yourself a bodybuilder and bodybuild. It's the competition side where you cross the line and it's unhealthy. And in that regard, I really don't think that there's any debating it. When I frame it as a positive is because if you really love and you really want to do it, you might as well do it in the healthiest way possible. But it comes with a lot of risks. You make bad choices. You have to live with those consequences. You can become physically unhealthy, mentally unhealthy, and the risks could outweigh the rewards, especially when you don't work with someone who has experience working with others to get them through it. And even when you work with someone else, sometimes it doesn't make a difference. You still go down the wrong path, and you can get to the point of no return, unfortunately. But I'm not here to shame the sport or to scare people away from it. I love it, and I encourage people to do it, and I will continue to, because I just love the sport. It's a giant part of my life. It ain't going away. But I'd be lying to myself and lying to you if I were to sit here and just frame it as a positive. The sport itself is unhealthy.
Yeah. I do think you're right. I think bodybuilding in and of itself is healthy. Like, you make healthier food choices, you focus on whole foods, you eat mindfully, you track your food, you move your body, but it's the competitive side of it that it's like taking it to the absolute extreme where you're dieting down so much and then you're overtraining, and there's so many people who will do back-to-back shows and do that for years, and then they run into all sorts of like hormonal issues, thyroid issues, gut issues. If you had something to say to first-time competitors about like staying safe in the sport, staying healthy, what would you say to them?
Get a prep coach. Don't jump into your prep. Make sure you're doing this for a really good reason and that you really want to do it. It's not just a bucket list item. Think about it. And know that no matter how hard you try, you're going to have physical hurdles and mental hurdles, and you will have blocks in seeing what they are, even after the fact, no matter how much you've overanalyzed this thing, overthought this thing to hell after the fact. And counseling can help, and a professional bodybuilding coach can help, and being aware can help, and that it's effing worth it if you want to do it. Just know what you're getting into.
What
Great
a
advice.
perfect answer. I agree with everything you just said there. It's interesting. When I asked you about health, you delved into mental health, and I kind of even like in this moment just like threw that out, like don't even worry about mental health. I just meant physically. But yeah, there's a lot of mental health issues that can come from this. The obsessiveness, like it almost creates OCD tendencies in people. I think it's that desire to be that microscope and find anything you can improve upon. Even to me, like, I was talking with Allie, my girlfriend, this morning, and she's like, "Oh, we could go to yoga on Saturday." I was like, "Okay, yeah, we could do yoga in the morning, but if I'm training legs on Saturday, I can't do yoga. If we're doing arms Saturday evening, I could fit yoga in, but I don't want to be tired on leg day. I don't want to like let even just a little bit of anything get in the way." And it's like, I'm a year out at least from a show, but that's still how my bodybuilder brain works. I try to find a way to work it around. Like I could do arms instead, but still, it's you hyper analyze everything. Um, Dang, I'm blanking. I had another question, but we can get into that in a minute.
It is a little obsessive. Like I just came over to my mom's house for a few days, and I probably had like 5 bags because I brought all my food, my food scale, my Ninja Creamy, all my workout stuff, all my supplements. Because it's like I don't want to get behind just a few days, you know. So it is a little obsessive and a little crazy, but there are really good parts about it too, like you said. It's very rewarding if you're doing it for the right reasons. And I love that you mentioned the checking it off a bucket list, because there's so many people I find now that are competing to just check it off their bucket list, and I don't really know if that's enough to get you through those nights where you're going to bed hungry and like you don't want to train, your legs feel like concrete, but you got to go train. And to really have a good why, I think is really important when you're competing, and to really be real with yourself and make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yes, I remembered. I'll get to that in a second. But to piggyback off what Brooke said, like the bucket list, when somebody approaches me and say, "Hey, I want to work with you. I want to do a show. Will you coach me?" First question is, how many shows have you been to? If they're like, "Oh, I've been to 5, like this year." Okay, yeah, you're probably interested in the sport. I've never been to a single show. Well, how do you even know that you want to do this? You don't even know how a show's run. You don't know anything that you've seen somebody post on Instagram, and you're like, "Oh, that looks like fun." Man, it's like literally. I tell my clients, I can hold your hand as we walk through hell together, but I can't walk through it for you. Like it's gonna be a walk through hell. As far as what we were talking about just a minute ago, this is what came back to me. Competition is unhealthy. The art of bodybuilding, lifting weights, eating healthy food, high protein diets, all of that is healthy. All that's going to help you live a lot longer. Staying natural going to help you live a lot longer. It's that maybe last 10% that we push to as a competitor where like 100% of the damage is done. If we had a way to like quickly body fat test people at a show and create a show that only allowed men to get to like, I don't know, like they have to be between 9 and 11% body fat. Oh, that'd be like healthy bodybuilding. Like we'd have big, full competitors coming in. Nobody would be crazy dick skin condition, and it wouldn't look like a bunch of freaks, but it'd be healthy. And if we had, I mean, granted, some people store body fat differently, so it might look better on some than others. But if we could do that, I think it would be a healthy sport. Also, last point, and then I'll shut up. No sport that you're competing in to win, I don't care if it's NASCAR, golf, basketball, football, none of those are healthy. Nobody's
Yes.
coming out of that better than they went into it, mentally or physically, if they're trying to be the absolute best in the world or even just place.
Was that what you remembered?
Yes, all of that.
Okay. I was curious. I'm like, did you finally remember?
The main thing was that 10% one. I was like, yeah, like if we're even like body fat, like we're down to 10% body fat, we're still healthy.
Yeah.
Like Giacomo said, athletically lean, because there's a point where you're athletically lean, where your insulin sensitivity is great, you're primed to put on muscle, but oh, I want to do a photo shoot or I want to hop in a show. Well, we have to get leaner than is athletically lean, which means your performance will start to suffer for you to get leaner. And people think bodybuilders look great on stage, but that's when they're literally at their weakest point is on stage. It's almost like a backwards sport. Like a power lifter is their strongest on the platform. A football player, other than being beat up, is going to be their strongest on the field. So
Yeah. Very backwards. So, Giacomo, you're also a coach, like we talked about earlier. What made you decide to start coaching other vegans? What inspired you to start helping others?
Danny had her very first client when we had our very first plant built team in 2012. And then she decided to keep doing it. And I had kept running our supplement shop. And then I came to shadow her and work with her. I also was personal training clients out of college in like 2002, and I'm a giver. I like helping people. So this is even pre-vegan. I was the guy in the gym who would offer a spot just because and like help someone with something. I enjoyed that, and it was my idea of giving to someone even if they didn't want it. So then I got into personal training. So I always liked I had liked the idea already of working with people and helping people.
Love that. So what would you say, since you've been an online coach, what has been your biggest challenges as an online coach?
My biggest challenges as an online coach?
Yeah.
Getting people to commit. The second they're like very close to getting what they want, they give up.
Yeah.
And there's no telling them elsewise. And that hurts. Because like in one sense you could feel guilty perhaps because you're keeping them there longer than they want to be or longer than they should be because they're not, you're afraid they're not going to get there. In another sense, it's just like that psychological barrier where someone is just about to get what they want as far as the body they want and their process is working, but they don't quite get there. And then in another sense, you have to also convince them like, hey, now how are you going to keep it? And how are you going to learn how to do it on your own? And then that after the fact thing, where it's like, they need their autonomy. They've pretty much already gotten to where they want to be on paper. And yet it's your responsibility to be like, okay, well, as a coach, here's my handoff to you. You're going to be able to do this process on your own. Give me a couple months just to get you there. It's that weird gray area where that in-between space where people are not quite getting the exact result they want on paper. And they're also not necessarily going to be able to get there on their own after the fact. I think it's the hardest part of working with somebody is being in that in-between place. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
100%.
Oh yeah, been there.
I related to you immediately when you said you're a giver. Like I was that guy that wanted to help everybody with their form in the gym and had to realize like if they're not asking you, you don't go help them, even if they're hurting themselves. If they're clearly hurting themselves, like nobody wants to hear it. So I just kind of focused inward at the gym. But now I'm sure this is hard for you too because you're an authority figure, especially in the vegan bodybuilding space. I'm sure you get DMs all day long. Hey, how do I do this? Hey, what's a good exercise for this? Hey, should I eat this protein? And it's like, I want to help the 500 of you here, but I also have 40 of you that are paying for me. So let me help them first and piggyback back and forth. And then you sometimes on that 40 that you're getting paid from or however many clients you have, you get a few intensive ones. And it's like you want to help. You're a giver, but they're asking for so much. Like I'll get 20 separate messages from some people in a day. And it's like, where do I draw the line? Like, well, how is this fair for them, but also fair for me and fair for the other 39 people I've offered to help, or that I'm obligated to help because they're paying me. I think it's like coaching itself. I think we all kind of know how to coach because we've done this for so long. It's the other things that get a little bit difficult and nuanced, at least for me. Sometimes you get somebody that's a new challenge or a new opportunity to solve, but you're working with people. So there's always that aspect, and there always will be that aspect.
Yeah. Online coaching is such a psychology experiment in a way. You get so many different personalities and, figuring out what's going to work for one person. Really, it all kind of comes down to mindset when you think about it, because it's like all these resources are online. All of us are posting our meals. All of us are posting about how to figure out your macros, and all of us are posting about workouts. So like people could easily go online and figure this out themselves if they really wanted to. So if they're coming to us, it's almost 100% a mindset issue, so like maybe they don't believe in themselves. Maybe they question everything that they're doing. Maybe they're like listening to you, but they're also listening to like 3 other people online. So it's like almost everything is a mindset issue. So it's almost like a psychology experiment. So you have to really like figure out what is the mental block that's keeping you from doing your workouts. Okay, you're not doing your workouts, but it's not because you don't have time. So really, what's going on in there that's keeping you from doing your workouts? So yeah, there's lots of challenges with working with people. You get so many different people and their reasons for why they can't do things, their different excuses, and it's really about figuring out, those mental obstacles that they're facing.
You hit on another topic, Brooke. There is just so much information. I think that people get overwhelmed. They read, well, you need milk for calcium, and then oh, you can be protein deficient as a vegan if you don't do this, or you have to pair your certain meals, or you got to use this supplement. And it's like, I've had some people come to me and they just believe these things that have been marketed to them by companies. I'm actually going to be releasing a reel on why you don't need collagen supplements.
Oh,
like,
yes. Don't
listen to the collagen companies trying to sell you stuff, because they're trying to sell you stuff. And like, I pulled up literally, like, I had never done the research, I'll be honest, but I got medical journals from like Harvard University saying there's not that it won't help, but there's just no data proving that it does help currently for like hair thickness or volume or shine or all those things I care about.
I love it. I can't wait for this. You're going to have lots of people in the comments.
Oh, yeah. Some notable potential even sponsors of mine that might have an issue with it.
Oh, yeah. Everything's so clickbaity now, though. It's crazy. So I can understand why people get confused with nutrition. I actually posted this on my threads the other day. It's like almost controversial to make a post about anything related to nutrition now. It's crazy. Like it's a hot topic. What if like you call a potato healthy? It's like a hot topic. It's crazy. Just because you get so many clickbait stuff, like you scroll through, and if you're just a normal person who doesn't know anything about this stuff, you see, oh my God, broccoli's bad. Don't eat broccoli. Oh my God, seed oils are going to ruin your gut and ruin your health. Oh my gosh, like you have to go carnivore to clear up your acne. No, you have to go vegan. It's like, I can understand why people are confused because everybody's trying to monetize on some like crazy radical idea to get views and likes.
Yeah. That's social media. Anyways, I actually have a deep-seated personal question for you. Well, it's personal for me. It's a question I want answered. Because I'm at this point in my life. I've talked to Brooke some off on air about this. Actually, Sean yesterday or whatever day I spoke with him. I'm losing control of the days here. How do you, someone who's a veteran of this, of being an online coach and being in this space and doing these events and being a competitor, how do you set up your work-life balance? Or in another way for me to phrase this, how would you recommend for somebody like myself to set up my work-life balance? Because right now, up until 24 hours ago, I had 0. I'm working on it now. I'm eager to learn and to improve and to take better care of myself so I can do this like yourself for decades instead of just burning out sometime in the next year. So I just threw out a lot. But work-life balance, what do you personally do to make sure that happens?
Mandatory 7-day vacation once a year. Periods of time where my phone is not on me, no matter, my phone doesn't meet me. My phone in my bedroom and me, we don't hang out together. We're not a thing. My phone stays in my office. So does my watch. Sleep tracking be damned. I have an analog watch by my bedside, and I look at it if I can't sleep to see the time and I want to put myself back to bed. So there's nothing digital following me into the bedroom. Periods of time where I force myself to not be like I fail at this too, John. So I feel like I'm an imposter right now. But these are the ways that I try to work on balance as well, because I am a self-admitted workaholic and unbalanced in my own. You don't get to focus on and hope to do incredible things without being an unbalanced person. It just happens. I try to take breaks. I try to look at my year and be like, if I'm doing this from January 1st through December 31st, working the same exact way, I'm harming myself. I have to find pockets of time, a week here, 3 weeks there, whatever it is, to recharge batteries, like a staycation of sorts, if you will, and then a mandatory 7-day vacation. And I have to take breaks from my digital world. As it is, like my vitamin D is low because I don't get enough sunlight because I'm constantly here in front of my computers. But I have to find a way to not have my digital things around me for like 20 minutes worth of decompression, and in the bedroom when I go to bed. Those two things are hard stops for me. Outside of that, I think the lines are a little more blurry than I care to admit in terms of work-life balance. But those are like my main things, I think. Yeah.
I literally took notes. Thank you. When you said a 7-day vacation, it scared me. That shouldn't scare you. That shouldn't instill fear to hear that. That's where I'm at. I haven't had a 7-day vacation, and I don't even know when. I worked full time up into becoming a coach, and I think I've worked every single day for the last 3 years. It's got me to where I'm at, but it's not sustainable. So I appreciate you sharing where you're at. And I think the no phone in bed, that's a smart idea. I have 2 phones. Because if one is uploading a video or one is replying to a client and then I get a call, like I have 4 screens in front of me right now, and this is like my little office, but I don't need either of these in my room. And I've turned off all notifications on my watch, so it's just for time and tracking my heart rate. So yeah, I'll start with like a 3-day vacation, but I I want to do some of these and get those little breaks to recharge. This morning, actually, I asked my girlfriend if she'd like to just go for a walk instead of me normally going to the gym and knocking out cardio and slamming out client replies. I was like, I can take 45 minutes, go get heckled on the street, and just go walk and get some vitamin D for real instead of just from a pill. And I came into this feeling good. So I think I'm getting the signs personally that I need to do this more. So anyways, I'm not trying to make this all about me, but thank you. This was like when Brooke said we got questions for him, that was my first one that came to mind. Like, well, how do you do that? Because you've been doing this for longer than me and I look up to you. So
have you jumped in a float tank before?
Jumped into what?
A float tank?
Never.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. I love them. Scared the hell out of Danny because she was like, oh my gosh, I'm alone in my thoughts. It's terrible. And me, I thought it was brilliant. It's just sensory deprivation. So you're floating in very buoyant water because it's heavily salted. So you don't feel you're not laying on anything. You're floating in water. You can't see anything. It's pitch black in there. You can't hear anything. All your senses are shut down. And after I travel, I jump into one ideally as soon as I can. And it helps me reset. It helps me reset my mind. And I go in there and I'll even meditate for a little bit or be mindful, and I'll try to stretch my body out a little bit, and then I'll just chill for like that solid hour in there. I find that to be really therapeutic, honestly, on a practical level.
I am intrigued. I've never done it before. I've heard about it. I've always thought it was interesting, but now I feel like this is a sign. I should try it and report back. Yeah.
How much? I actually have the spa that I go to has one, but I've never done it. How much did you pay, and how long do you sit in there for? Is it like an hour?
They're usually anywhere from $60 to $120, depending on the place you go to. 60, probably a little more now. 75 to 150 for like 60 to 90 minutes worth of time.
Yeah, I feel like that's worth it. I'd pay $150 to relax for sure.
And you can't have your phone in there. So
yes, that's brilliant.
My girlfriend is like, we need more activities that you're not able to be on your phone. She's like, we should go whitewater rafting. I was like, I definitely wouldn't bring my phone on that. Like,
yeah,
ways to force my roller skating was one for a little bit, but then I know 2 bodybuilders from my personal gym here, a small gym, and they both got injured roller skating, and I don't want to be the third. So maybe not that, but more things along those lines.
that's why I do Legos. Can't be on your phone while you're doing Legos or a puzzle or something. Yeah.
We need to still do the Legos. I'm anxiously awaiting that. I want to ask, somewhat in line with this, but it's less of like how do you manage the stress? Like, what do you do to fill your cup? Because you're such a giving person. How do you give back to yourself? Is it spending time with the wife? Is it going to the gym? Like what makes you you and refills your batteries other than just vacation? Like we got to have something every day or every week that you do.
Talking to people that I love, giving them a call, and hanging out with them, listening to music, listening to audiobooks, coloring, playing
What kind of coloring?
anything.
Yeah.
Coloring Katya's powerlifting book, coloring a book that for an anxious person, literally anything. Patterns. I really like. See, I don't want to talk about anything productive. I'm not going there. No. Yeah, mindless stuff, chill stuff. Spending time with people is hard for me. I'm not good at it, but I genuinely love it. So I should probably do more of that.
When you say you're not good at it, because I know we talked off air and you said you're more of an introvert. You mean it's hard for you to manufacture those settings, or is it hard to be around people when you're with them? Like what part is it hard for you to make that happen?
I'm distracted when I'm hanging out with people because I'm thinking about the thing I have to do. And I also don't make time for people. I blow people off, or I just create a world where it's just not possible. Or I justify that my cup is full because I travel a lot for work and I'm constantly engaging with people. So I don't have the energy for it. So I don't make time for close friends and just spending time with them. Like I'm the type of person who you come over to hang out and I'll be like doing chores or like not sitting still, or like instead of just sitting down on the couch and just having a real conversation. It's sad, but so there's an area to work on for sure. And that's something I should probably do to fill my cup better. But the other stuff is just instead of just decompressing, just enjoying your time doing something. There's a difference between the two.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very good wisdom. Owning your own business is a lot to juggle. Especially when you don't have any help and you're wearing all the hats. It can be a lot to manage, and definitely making time for yourself is really important.
Man, I feel like I'm living in your head or you're living in my head, because I'm the same way. If somebody comes over, if I get a phone call, I can go wash the dishes while I'm on a phone call. I can go do this, I can go do that. Like I can find a way to multitask, and then I'm not really at my best, It's sometimes I'll try to play tricks on myself and be like, what if this is the last time you get to talk to this person? And that slows me down. And slows me down a good bit. But I don't always do it. And like you said, like our lives through bodybuilding, through all the nuances there, I don't have a very open schedule. If my best friend calls me today and say, hey, can you hang out tonight? Like, no, I got 4 other plans. I can't. And then after a while, you always say, no, I can't, they stop asking. So it's not easy. I feel like I can relate to everything you said there. I'm not trying to make this a sad episode. I think it's good that we're talking about it. It's honest. It's honest. These are areas that we can work on and improve upon. And if you can acknowledge them and allow them to exist and see them, then we can work on them in our own ways. I think all of us are overachievers in a sense. We all, for whatever reason, genetically or biologically, want to do more with the time we have here, which can be great for the world that we manufacture and for the people we interact with on the extremities, but like for ourselves, it can be our kryptonite, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. Stress is no good, no bueno for your health. So you got to make sure you manage your stress, because it will manifest eventually, somehow. I truly believe somehow. You hear about people all the time who they're perfectly healthy and then they get some crazy illness or sickness, or they get injured or something like that. And stress is powerful, and you got to manage it for sure. It's really important.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you in September. maybe I'll see you before then. Remind me again, where are you based out of?
Massachusetts.
Yeah, so you're nowhere near Florida.
You're way up there.
How far is Massachusetts from New Jersey?
It's like a 6-hour drive.
Wow.
Okay, never mind. That's still a pretty far drive. I'm gonna be at May 19th, I think. There's like a vegan block party, maybe. Sean's gonna kill me. He probably knows. In Asbury Park on May 19th. You could Google it. Somebody could find it out, but that's nowhere near you, so I wouldn't necessarily expect you to make that drive. Well, you'll be in my neck of the woods in September, so I'll definitely see you for that. For the Fit Fest in Tampa. Anything else you want to shout out or promote? Or Brooke, did you have any more questions? I feel like I've gotten my notes. I got a lot out of this episode. So personally, I want to say thank you. I've gotten a lot, but anything you guys have?
Just thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. You and Danny have been awesome guests. And love your content, love everything you post, your YouTube, your podcast is great too. And we really appreciate your time and you taking some time to come on today.
Yeah. First husband and wife that we've had on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got to be the leader of season 2, so that's
Yeah, your pilot episode 1, season 2.
I'll take it.
All right, bro. You got to manufacture something for like 30 seconds. I got to pull on myself.
Well, I feel like, are we about to close out here? All right. Well,
give me 30 seconds.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, Giacomo, where he does this every single episode. He runs to the bathroom. Yep.
Right.
This is, the most unhinged podcast. Anyways, Giacomo, where can we find you? Where can we hear your podcast? Where can we follow you? All that good stuff.
Go to veganproteins.com. You'll find our Instagram, our YouTube channel, our podcast, and all of that at Vegan Proteins and at Muscles by Brussels. Shoot us an email about literally anything. Let all three of us know how we can be here for you, what kind of questions or conversation did this stir up for you, and let us know how we can be more supportive.
And he changed shirts. Oh my gosh.
I can't believe I forgot to put on my Muscles by Brussels shirt when he's wearing my shirt. I was like, at some point, I'm glad I even had a shirt for this. But it was the first time I put on a shirt today. But then I did not even think to go grab this out of my closet. So I had to. I had to represent Muscles by Brussels.
I love it. I love it. That's good.
Thank you, sir. I don't know if you know how much good this podcast is going to do. This episode specifically, if nothing else, even if it doesn't air for some reason, I've personally gotten so much from this. I genuinely appreciate it. I've asked you some hard questions, and you and I have so much more in common than I ever realized. It's a lot. Started training at the same time. The only thing is you've just been doing it a little bit longer than me, so I can learn from you. Yeah. I genuinely appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for being open and vulnerable as well. It's nice to have things in common and to have that kind of bond. It's easier said than done. So I appreciate you.
Yeah. You're getting a big hug in September.
Yes, and tell Danny we said hello. We had so much fun with her.
I shall.
All right. Brooke, you brought us on, so I'll do my best to take us off.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This is it. First episode of season 2. We've done the thing. Make sure, if you aren't already, go follow Muscles by Brussels on Instagram. He's a fantastic person. And make sure you can help us grow. If you enjoy this, send it to somebody else. If you enjoy it, leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify. Would be wonderful. And please interact with us. Leave your questions. vegansexplore.com. We will take your questions and answer them live. So somebody leave us a voicemail. We've already gotten a few. We'd love a few more for season 2. And with that, I think that's everything, right?
Yeah, that's everything.
Yeah. All right. Have the absolute best day ever. I love you guys. I appreciate you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
See ya.